Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is my God of War, Chains of Olympus, Pain Plus, no damage run. And this is the CHARON boss fight, where we actually get to win this time. This is a combination of all the things that make God of War quite good, and all the things that make God of War quite bad. And in the beginning here, guys, we're just going to put as much pressure on him as we can, and we're going to be blocking his entire string and then doing a combo afterwards. And I'm going to hit him with as many Spirit of Herculeses as I can, just to do as much damage as possible. And every so often he'll give you a couple more if you can get the hits on him. And then at this point he's going to start running away and firing fireballs, which you can reflect if you don't have that restriction. But I'm just going to dodge them with movement, and then we're going to go back into this string. This boss is very basic because it only has one move. It has this spinny bullshit move that it does for ages, and then eventually he unlocks the ability to do the fireballs, which he just did, but he telegraphs them so heavily and they struggle to hit you for some reason. And then afterwards, when we beat him up a little bit more, he's going to get access to the ability to like paralyze you with his eyes. And it's kind of a weird move with a bad hitbox, but it has a glaring weakness which you'll see when we get to it. And then after that, he starts like banging the ground and doing a big AoE. And that's about it. That's all he's really got. It's a 4-phase fight, and it has 4 moves. And I just don't understand, you know. The doors in God Hand almost have more moves than this boss. It's bizarre. But to compensate for his lack of, shall we say, technicality, they gave him a ludicrous amount of HP. And believe it or not, this guy's HP is actually quite small compared to Persephone's with how much you have to hit her and how infrequently you can hit her. So this seems like a pretty short fight compared to that one, even though this one feels like hell when you're doing it because it's so bloody boring. But watching what he does enables you to guide your spirit so that you can hit him when he teleports, and then sometimes you get this where you can do multiple in a row, which is really nice, because that's the most damage you can pretty much do to him. I really like doing square, triangle, hold triangle, but every so often he doesn't let you do it. And if you can get this right here, this is just repeated spirits, which is really nice. But he's going to run away now, and we're going to... I put on the glove then because I thought I was going to have to break the thing, but I didn't. Turns out he's going to fire more fireballs at me, but the fireballs are really free. There's probably an even better punish on that if you're closer to him, but I wanted to use movement instead of just rolling. And here we go. This is a spirit. Can we get a second one? We can. This is what you want. If you can get him to constantly keep giving you these, you can hit him way more than you should be able to. But he doesn't always do this, so if you're playing this game, guys, you're like, well, why does your CHARON stand there and let you beat him up? He never does this. This was really interesting. This is the most I've ever seen him stand and take it. And I don't know if that's emulator, I don't know if that's just random or rare, but we're going to go over here and we're going to beat these pillars up, and then we're going to get on with it. I really wish this boss had less HP because I don't dislike the fight. And here's the phase with the eyes. So this move is really dangerous, but you can walk around it like this. And you can do square triangle here if you're in the right position. You can also just do standard triangle. But after a while, when you do this, he attacks you normally. So if you want to just shut that move down instead of completely like being afraid of it, just run around it poking it. And you can roll if you want to like this, it's pretty simple to do, but you can just walk as well. And then when you're in this, once you learn the pattern of when to do it and which ones not to do it on, you can start adding in the extra hit. So just then, I changed to Ys instead, and you can move because you have the time, you just have to press it at the right time. And you will never get hit here as long as you understand which ones to go for and which ones not to. And if your positioning's good, it makes this really easy. The problem is it's slow. So if you dodge normally, you can be attacking in between the dodges and you'll do a lot of damage. But did you see just then? Just then I flinched him and I could have done a full spirit, but I didn't recognize it and I dropped my hit confirm. But this is all you really need to do. Walk around it, press triangle. Walk around it, press triangle. And then he does the combo. And if he does the combo, block it and do a punish. And if you see him flinching, commit to the spirit. And if you can flinch him again, you might get okay. But I thought he was going to do the eyes then. Did you see that? So I tried to preempt the eyes by moving and he didn't do it. But don't sleep on the hitbox in this move. It's massive. But when I watched on YouTube to see people doing this phase, I noticed that nobody was doing it, so at least that's a little bit interesting to watch, I guess, as much as it's kind of boring. Using movement to circumvent things. But the light attack here is not what we need. We want square triangle. This was probably from the run that I did when I ended up fucking up the QTE. Because I had to record it again. And the second time I was a lot more understanding of the fight, of course. But for walkthrough purposes, I say walkthrough, this is not a walkthrough, it's more of a run than anything, it's kind of a fun run. I like to share the first victory when I make videos because I think that that one is usually the most meaningful. It's not always the cleanest, it's not always the best, but it's the one that meant the most, you know, because you won. Right, just then, here we go, I actually committed and I hit him. That's what you want to do, guys. When you see him flinch, continue attacking. You don't have too much time to react, but you have enough. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. But this is... because here's the thing as well. This right now looks really cowardly because of how aggressive you have to be against Persephone or you're going to fight her for 200 years. Like, you can get way more damage here. Just looking at this, I know you can. Like, there's no reason to use squares unless you need to reposition. See, now I'm getting a bit more confident with it. I'm getting a little bit more impatient and I'm starting to hit it a bit harder. Yeah, this is pretty effective. And then he does the combo, so we can wait for this. And his HP now is at the threshold where he should be going away and doing the pillar soon. I don't really know exactly what the number is, but it's about halfway. There's the combo. That unfortunately was a parry, but it wasn't intentional. And now I'm going to move around it because I'm in position. And we're just going to do this. And this is it, right? This is where we punch the thing. So now, when you break this pillar, when he comes back down, we're going to be forced with the best part of the fight, which is when he starts jumping. I say jumping, he doesn't jump, we start jumping. He goes to a corner, and he'll either do his slam like that, or he'll cast the fireballs, or he'll go to his normal combo. And when he does the slam, you can do jump attacks on him. But I watched Taz do this when before I recorded it. And I remember him he stood near CHARON on that phase, and I just thought he like stood behind him and he was invincible because it didn't have a hitbox there, but I tried to do it, and I got hit. And you know, that happens all the time, doesn't it? You know when you watch a video on YouTube and you're like, oh wow, that looks easy, and then you try and do it and it doesn't work. So, on one of my best attempts, I got to this phase, and then I went to, when he did that move, I stood where I thought Taz stood, and I just got hit. So instead, I'm going to jump every time. And I don't know why I didn't, because on my practice run, jumping was the thing I was doing, and it's safe. Always jump, I felt. And that's what I'm going to be doing now. I'm going to be jumping the whole time, and he never hits me when I jumped. But when I tried to use positioning, there's way more going on, and wherever it was I stood, it was wrong. So watch that video though, guys. Taz won when he did it. He's found some really good manipulations to do a ton of damage and not get hit, but I just couldn't do it. And I say I couldn't do it. I tried it once, it didn't work, I of course quit. The classic. I tried it once and it didn't work, guys. It doesn't work, you know? But sometimes they'll give you a couple of opportunities to do full spirits, and that's what you need to do. Because this fight is long enough without this guy being a bitch. But I think this phase is easier than the earlier phases, because he always bangs the ground, and it's the easiest move to dodge. But that's the problem with this fight. It's not hard, it just takes 12 fucking minutes. And I don't understand. Like, I'd be really curious. How would you make this fight better, guys? Would you just change his HP? Would you change the modifier on the damage? Like, I always thought one of the things they could have done with Kratos is made it so that his enders, whatever the enders are, be it the Valor move at the end that knocks back, be it the Spirit that has the Super Plume on it, anything that has an ender, I think it should just completely subvert the damage system. It should almost be percentage based or something. Like, I would love the final hit of Plume of Prometheus to do the same damage regardless of your upgrades, so it always does like good damage. And I don't think that would have done anything to stem the tide of those people that think God of War is just this brain dead game where you mash square, square, triangle. But I just feel like a lot of players are going to be playing the game normally with all the weapons and all the upgrades and everything, so it doesn't really matter what the enders do. But if you do challenge runs like this, it would be really nice if you could get a guaranteed hefty chunk if you manage to set up a situation where you get that big one out. Because to me, that's what would have been perfect. I just think it would have made a lot of sense. And they didn't go that way. Instead, they just went with everything has 1,000,000 HP. But I love this section. And this is the section where I was really curious to see what people were doing with it, because this part was kind of awkward until I figured out the fireballs are just not very good at hitting you. But this part takes a long time because we were not reflecting projectiles. This is another sequence in Chains of Olympus that seems to be designed around using that technique. And if you're a game developer, guys, and you've somehow stumbled on this video, if you're making a game, please take a moment to consider that the players might not play it in that one specific, like, curated way you hoped they would. And if you come up with a couple of different alternatives for them that aren't absolutely, like, paint chipper to the brain tedious, I'll love you forever. Because this here, all you do is you run in a circle and then you press jump triangle. You run in a circle, you press jump triangle. If you get lucky, you can do 2 triangles, like that. But depending on the detection and depending on your spacing will depend on whether or not you hit them. And if you look at the hit counter, you'll see 4 hits or 3 hits or sometimes even 2, and this is all you do. I wish it was more than this, but this is really as brain dead as this is. And I hate to say that, guys, but this is not a complicated boss. It's not a difficult fight. It's just lame. And it sucks because it could be so interesting. It has everything it needs to be an interesting fight. But you can't expect somebody to fight something for 12 minutes that's only got 4 moves. Like, it's stupid. The first enemy in Dark Souls has more moves than this boss. Why? It makes no sense. And admittedly, you know, this game came out in, you know, the late 2000s, but still. God Hand came out in 2006. You have no counter-argument. It just boggles my fucking brain that they thought this was enough. And it irritates me because I love this game and it could be so much more than it is. By the way, do not try to grab him too quickly and do not mess up on these QTEs. I did it. I do not wish that on anybody. But that's the end of CHARON. The mighty ferryman is going to be sinking in the sticks tonight. Thank you for watching, and you take care now.